Hey guys, welcome back to Music 61 and 61A. This week we're going to cover rhythms in 4/4 meter. So 4/4 meter has 4 beats to a measure. It's otherwise known as quadruple meter because of the 4 beats. The conducting pattern is kind of like a plus sign or a cross. You start up high, down, left, right, up. So when I say left, it's from my perspective. From yours watching, I'll be moving to the right. But when you do it, you go to the left for you. Down, left, right, up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we have a downbeat every 4 beats. Also in 4/4, the third beat is considered somewhat of a strong beat, but it's not as strong as the first beat. Alright, so you can see the new element that comes into play with 4/4 meter is the whole note. It fills a whole measure of 4/4. It's 4 beats long, and we say ta for the whole thing. You can see that it's an empty note head with no stem, and that's a whole note. This is how I would perform it with conducting. Ta, 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 ta. There's also a whole rest, okay, which again I was always taught as a piano student that the rest kind of hangs down from the line because it's heavier. A half rest looks very similar, but it sits on top of the line because it's lighter. It's only 2 beats. Okay, so this one hangs down, and so it's 4 beats long, and we don't actually say ta at all for that. We say nothing. It's silence, and this is how I would perform it with conducting. All right, looking here at rhythm A, there's the first step, which I always do, which is to analyze the whole thing for the rhythmic elements. In 4/4 meter, we break it down into 2 beats plus 2 beats. Every measure breaks evenly right down the middle into 2 beats at a time, and so I kind of try to group the elements that way. So let's take a look over here. I've got a half note for my first measure, and then 2 quarter notes. And I keep going. Half note, quarter, and 2/8. See how the patterns start to work? Quarter and 2/8, quarter and 2/8, half note, half rest. Here we've got a half note, 2 quarter notes, half note, quarter, and 2/8. See again, every time the measure breaks down, you can put an imaginary line right down the center of each measure and try to group the elements, the rhythmic elements, whether it's a quarter note or 2/8 notes or a half note. Try to group those elements at 2 beats at a time. Here I've got measure 7, there it goes, a quarter note and 2/8 notes, and then 4/8 notes all together here. 2 quarter notes and a half rest. Here's a half note and 2 quarter notes. Quarter note, 2/8 notes, quarter note, 2/8 notes. 2 quarter notes, quarter note, and then 2/8 notes, and there's a little breath in there, so I'm going to breathe at that moment. And then I've got quarter, 2/8 notes, 4/8 notes, and then a half note at the end. Taking a look here at the dynamics, we've got piano at the very beginning, mezzo piano in the middle there. Keep going, mezzo forte there on the bottom, and then we're going to crescendo into a forte. And then while we're crescendoing into forte, we're also going to do a ritardando. So this has to do with tempo. It means to slow down gradually. So we're going to both get louder gradually, and as we do that, we're going to slow down. And our tempo is going to be 80. Okay, let's try to perform this one. All right, here's my metronome at 80. Now because there's a ritardando at the very end of this, even though the metronome is still going, I'm going to start to ignore it and slow down. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, ti, ta. Ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ti 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 ta 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 ti ti ta ti ti ta 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 ti ti ta ti 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 ta. Rhythm B, I have my tempo here at 120, so it's going to be quick. And I also have a pickup of 1 quarter note beat, okay? So there's 2 eighth notes. It's a quarter note beat pickup, which means that the end, the last measure is only going to be 3 beats. See, because that note, that last beat was taken off of the end and tacked onto the beginning there. That also means that my phrases will also begin with pickups. All right, here we go. Let's go through the elements as we analyze this. Just the 2 eighth note pickup, and then here we go. Remember, these measures divide 2 plus 2. So we got half note is 2 beats, and then 4 eighth notes is 2 beats. 2 quarter notes, 4 eighth notes. Here, look at this, a syncopation. That equals 2 beats right there. Okay, that's going to be ti-ta-ti. Remember, that's a rhythmic element. It's called the syncopation. Here I have 4 eighth notes, and then a half note, quarter rest, 2 eighth notes, 2 quarter notes, 4 eighth notes, quarter note, 2 eighths, and then 4 eighth notes. And here's another syncopation, 2 quarter notes, and here's a half note. Okay, I've got a rest, and then 2 eighth notes. Second line. Syncopation is 2 beats, and then I have a quarter and 2 eighths. Another syncopation is 2 more beats, and I have 4 eighth notes. Half rest. Quarter rest plus 2 eighth notes, 2 quarter notes, 4 eighth notes, syncopation plus 4 eighth notes, syncopation plus syncopation. And you see, if I divide the measure right down the middle there, 2 beats plus 2 beats, you can easily see how that measure breaks down. If I were not doing that, you would look at this measure and it would be a little bit confusing, especially during a sight read. And then the last measure is a half note, and then 1 lonely little quarter rest there because the rest of the measure is actually the beginning. Okay, let's do this one. Ti ti ta, ti 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 ta ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ta, ti ti ta ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ta, ti ta ta ta. Ti 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 ta, ti ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ti. Ti ti ta ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ta, ti ti ta ti ta. Again, if you have any spots where you make a mistake, go back and drill them. I'm going to try and do this one a little slower though, without a metronome, so that we can practice going at a slower speed. Ti ti ta, ti 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 ta, ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ta, ti ti ta ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ta, ti ta ta ta, ti 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 ta ti ta, ti 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 ta ti 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 ti, ti ti ta. Ta, ti 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 ta, ti 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 ta, ti ti ta ti ta.